we have all of our text in the correct place. Now we just need to style it. So I'm going to get started showing you how I would style this. Now I've chosen for my typeface PT Sans. You have your own typeface and your own placement of where this text is. I just want to show you the process. So the first thing I would do is grab this body copy and style it the way I want it. So I want this on PT Sans. And I want the size to be 11 point. I'm going to go a little smaller because there's a lot of copy to get in here. I can always change this later. And I'm going to put the leading at 15. So 11 over 15 and aligned left. With the paragraph styles panel open, I'm going to hit a plus. And it'll put it there, paragraph style 1. I'm going to double click and call this body copy. Now I want to style my subheads. So I'm going to grab this one, we'll call it pendulum, and I want to do things a little different with this one because it's a subhead. So this one I want to put PT Sans bold, and I want to make it all caps. And you can do all this styling either on the properties panel like this, or you can do it up here in the control panel at the top if you're using an Essentials Classic workspace. So I see this all caps icon. I'm going to click on that. So I want all the subheads to be all caps. I also am going to tighten up the spacing just a little bit because it's big type. So I'm going to take the tracking down to -10. I want the alignment to be left, and then I want one more thing. I want space after. Do you see how the type is right on top of the body copy? I don't want to put a return in there because that's too much space. I just want a little bit. So again, I can do it here in the paragraph on the properties panel or up in the control panel. All I'm doing is adding a little space. So right now I have 0.125, and then I'm going to go here and I'm going to hit the plus. It gives me a new paragraph style. I'm going to call this subheads. Now all I got to do is call all this out. So Science on a Sphere, this is subhead, this is body copy, subhead, body copy, and now we have a little chunk of type here that is the list of the unique features. So right now I'm going to make this all body copy, but I want to do some styling because I do want to put those bullets there. So what I need to do is make a new style sheet for this bulleted copy. So I'm going to hit the plus, and it's selected right now as body copy, but I'm going to bring it over here. I'm going to call this bullets. And we can do a lot of this styling from in here. So the first thing I want to do is I want to put in some bullets. So I go to bullets and numbering, and on the list type I'm going to say bullets. And right away they're in. Now we don't want to actually add it to the first one, so we'll go back and fix that. But for now we have our bullets. Now you can use one of these standards like that, or you could add something cool and different. Don't get too crazy. There's not much in my chosen typeface, but under Zap Dingbats there's all kinds of options for bullets. I would say maybe just keep it really simple. So I'm going to go with a square. Now I have to select the square. There we go. There is a way you can apply a character style to your bullets, to just your bullets. So I'm going to say new character style, call this bullets, and it's allowing me to do this within the paragraph style. And so what I want to do is I want to make the type red, and I want to make the size probably maybe 8. We're going to have to play around with that. Yeah, so that's not too bad. Now, the other thing I want to do is it looks very unstyled to have a bullet with that long of space before it. So within bullets and numbering, we can adjust that. So I'm going to put a little bit on the left indent, and then the first line I'm going to have go a little bit negative. And you just keep playing around with these numbers until you get it. That looks pretty good to me, so I'm going to say okay. And that's my bullet style sheets. Now that first line, I don't want to be bullets. I just want that to be regular body copy. So I'm going to change that back. Okay, so there is our bulleted list. Now the next thing we want to do is go here to the back, and we have some type to style on the back panel. I'm going to start by just making it all body copy. The address and all the show information body copy. Then as I look at it, I see we have some subheads. So public shows, and you can style your subheads any way you want, but I want you to use style sheets. It's really important. So now we have those. I can also style the word planetarium. First, let's take that back panel copy off. Maybe planetarium is like subheads. Now the other thing is this page has these show times, which would be nice if they were styled a little differently. So I'm going to grab one of those and I'm going to change this to italic. Just because it stands out and it's not so heavy. And I'm making a new style sheet with that, and I'm going to call that italics. So wherever I might need an italics kind of call out. So I'm going to put it on this show time. I'm going to put it on all three of these. I can always change my mind later. And then I think the hours down here would look good in italics. And I'm going to center everything that's there because I'll probably put the logo above it. But we're not worried about images right now. We're just kind of figuring out the type. On the cover, you can do whatever you want, of course. I'll show you real quickly what I'm going to do. I'm going to put that planetarium in its own box, exhibits and showtimes in its own box, and I'm going to style these two as subheads. You want to keep reusing your style so that you have a consistent look throughout. And this one, planetarium, I'm also going to make subheads, but then I'm going to make it much, much larger. And it won't have its own style sheet because it's only going to be used one time. So there's a lot of ways I can make this bigger. I can choose Shift Command and the greater than and just keep bumping it. And then I got to make the type box bigger, of course. So that's how I'll size it for right now. Something like that. I'm not going to really start noodling it until I put my images in, because I want a dramatic image also for this cover. But I can put exhibits and showtimes down here. We want it to read Orange Coast College Planetarium and then exhibits and showtimes. So I could even put this here. I could have the type going in this direction, however you want to do it. So the only other text that I need is this panel. And this is the panel that will flip next to the images on this left side where it's blank for my layout. Your layout is going to be your own thing. But I'm going to do big chunky copy like the Broad did. So I'm going to make this one PT Sans black. That'll probably do the trick. And then I'm just going to keep doing the Shift Command and greater than sign. I also want to divide this into paragraphs. Do you see how the copy all runs together? So I'm going to hit a return after where, a return after this where, and then a return after imagine. So now if you look under the type panel, show hidden characters, you'll see that there's 1, 2, 3, 4 kind of little paragraphs that are spaced apart. I think it makes it easier to read rather than having a huge big glob of text. So I'm going to hide that now, but now that gives me an opportunity to add space after each of those paragraphs. So I'm going to go to the space after, and by clicking it like that, it's pretty close to the bottom line, so I'm just going to leave it. And there's kind of a clever imagine, where, and imagine again. And you could even change the size of those words, make it like that. Where, and do the same thing. Try that. So no matter what you do here, you don't really need a style sheet because it's not going to be used again. I also want to tighten up the spacing on this just a little bit. It's 0. I'm going to go -10 because I need to break off some of these hyphens. When you use really big text in a narrow column like this, you get tons of hyphens. But we don't have to leave it that way. We can put soft returns in here. So there's one. And soft returns when you hold Shift and then return so that it doesn't create a new paragraph, because remember we put space after the paragraph and we don't want space after all this stuff. So I'm just going to go through here and break it up. It looks like this is going to have a hard time fitting right there. Let's see. I might have to tighten up the leading just a little bit. Right now it's at 28. To get all that in to land on the bottom, I'm going to have to tighten it up, and then I'm going to have to break. So now I have kind of an idea of how much space I have left for images. I can always go back in and edit the subheads, the italics, the body copy, or the bullets from this paragraph styles panel. Now it's time to put in those images.